Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Gravity, and this movie is directed by Alfonso Cuarón, and it stars Sandra Bullock, George Clooney, and it came out in 2013, and I've never seen this movie before, and I've always heard things about it, and there were people who were praising this movie for the effects and the technical qualities, but there were also people who were complaining about that there's no substance to this film and it's just hollow and no one cared about the characters and kind of a divisive film, and I somehow avoided it for the longest time, like 10 years later, and I'm finally able to watch it. And I would say that I have some mixed feelings on this film. I really love this movie on a technical level. Like, it's very well shot, and I think the first scene of the movie, like, it's all basically one continuous shot, and if there were cuts, they were seamless. And I thought it was super impressive, and the effects in the movie look pretty great. Even to this day, they hold up, and I always feel like I'm in space, and when debris is hitting things, it looks real, and nothing looked fake, and I thought all of that was really cool, and I like the sound design in this movie a lot. When characters are like touching things in space, like those are the only sounds you hear in space, like just sounds through their suits, or if that's even how sound would work. And it's all through the perspective of the astronauts, and when debris is like hitting something, like you don't hear the debris hitting anything. Like there's no sound, there's no boom or any effects like that. It's just all silence. And I thought that was a really cool detail. And I thought that the music was great, and I feel as though it was working for me very well, and it helped a lot of scenes in the film, and without it, I feel as though it would still be a very well-made film technically, but I think the music just makes it even better for me. And there's a lot of things about this movie that I really appreciate, and all of that I really love. However, where this movie kind of fails for me are the two main performances and the characters, because there are things about it that are kind of stupid, and I wished it was done a bit better. Like George Clooney's character, like I think he gives the better performance out of those main two. Not saying that he was great, but his character was kind of annoying in certain scenes, because in the opening scene he's just on like a jetpack thing filled with air, and it helps him fly around space. And I was just thinking the entire time, why are you wasting so much like fuel, for lack of a better word, in your thing or whatever it's called, when like you're on a mission and he's just flying around like it's nobody's business. And I was just thinking that's dumb. And there's also a point where Sandra Bullock is like needing to control her breathing because she's really low on oxygen, and she has like 2% oxygen, and George Clooney is telling her to control your breathing, and that's going to help. And like at a certain point, they're just floating from one location to another, and all of a sudden he is like talking to her, like wanting her to talk, like just asking questions. And I was like, why are you doing this? She has to like control her breathing and just like be quiet and have her like take shallow breaths. Like, wouldn't that be a smarter idea? But instead he just wants to talk. Like, you can just talk to yourself. I don't know what's preventing you from doing that. And my biggest issue with the movie is Sandra Bullock. I don't buy her in the lead role. Not that she's absolutely terrible, but rather I just don't feel as though she works as an astronaut. And there are points in this movie where she's supposed to emote, and I just don't buy it. And there are parts where she's supposed to be crying, and you can see like tears like floating in the space to like help out with the performance, but I wasn't buying it one bit. Also, her character is kind of an idiot and makes some really stupid choices. But at the very least, I can make this a little more forgivable, both with her character and her performance, because early on in the film, they mentioned that she had like 6 months of training, and I think the reason why they mentioned this is because she's kind of new at this. She's kind of like a rookie, or at least that was my interpretation. And I can just interpret it as like, okay, she's inexperienced and she doesn't really know what to do. Like 100% of the time is what I meant. And that makes sense a little bit. But throughout most of the film, where she's supposed to be like scared or upset or emoting or talking, I just don't believe it, unfortunately. When she's not talking or she's just talking like in a regular, normal talking voice, like not screaming, just talking level voices, if that makes sense. I don't know the right word to use. She was fine, but unfortunately, the moments that really mattered for her to stand out, she didn't deliver for me, unfortunately. And there are moments in this movie that were pretty cool to watch, like some of this debris hitting ships, and for lack of a better word, I'm just going to call them action moments. I wouldn't say they're sequences necessarily, because they're done within like a minute. So I'm just going to call them action moments. There's only like a couple in the movie, and I enjoyed those moments despite Sandra Bullock, is what I'll say. Like, she doesn't ruin every scene that she's in, is the nicest way I can put it. The only other things that bug me about this movie are just little things, like there was a jump scare in this movie for no reason. And there's also some CG fire that doesn't look too great. It's just little things like that that I wish could have been better, but it doesn't drag down the movie for me. Like, I'm not going to take off points for those little things as I do with the main performance in this movie. And that's about all I have to say about Gravity. I appreciate it more than I enjoy it. And even the stuff that I enjoyed, I still had issues with. But I can say that I liked it, even though I probably won't ever watch this movie again. I'm at the very least glad that I finally watched it because of it being polarizing and, well, not necessarily polarizing, kind of somewhat controversial-ish, like divisive, that's the word. And I know it was received pretty well at the time, and I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. There's too many elements in it that are there that I really love for me to say bad. This movie was very successful. Like, it was on a $100 million budget, and it grossed over like $700 million, I believe. So it's a pretty successful movie, and I can see why. And it was also nice and short. It was only an hour and a half, and halfway through the movie, I thought the movie was going to be over, but nope. There was something else, and there were just things keeping the story going, and it's basically like a situation where characters need to get out of that situation, otherwise they're going to die, and it takes place in space, and that's what makes it kind of unique, because in space, like, if you try to just jump down to Earth, you're just going to burn up. Like, there's nothing you can do. I like the concept of the movie. It's nice and simple. There's no, like, dumb subplots in this movie that drag it down, and it's a nice, simple story with really fantastic technical elements that bump it up a lot, but is unfortunately dragged down by some stupid character stuff and less than great performances from our two leads, unfortunately. So, check it out. It's worth at least one watch, in my opinion. I'll say that about it, but I'm not rushing to rewatch this movie anytime soon, even though I do like it. So, with all that being said, I'm going to give Gravity a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Gravity, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Old Boy from 2003. A movie that I've been wanting to watch for years, but has never been on any streaming platform, and it's finally on Netflix. I was like, finally, yes, I get to watch it. I'm so excited to check it out because I've been wanting to see this movie for years. So look forward to that, and I'm hoping that this movie doesn't disappoint. And until I get my review for Old Boy up, the original, the South Korean version from 2003, not to be confused with the remake by Spike Lee starring Josh Brolin, that's a different movie. I'm going to be talking about the 2003 film. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.